Three, two, one, and we should be live. Welcome everybody to the Beerumverate. It is I, the Barkoff, and I am joined by Mr. McWombles and Mitch. How you guys doing today?
You need to right on a show when there's more than one person. You need to introduce that person, then ask them how they're doing, because otherwise, Mitch and I could have started talking exactly the same time.
What's the fun in introducing each person individually? It's much better if you guys just start talking over each other.
We want to be different, right?
Yeah, we want to be different. So let's be unprofessional. Let's be amateurish. That's great. Well, we are amateurs, I suppose. I'm tired, but I'm still here. That's dedication, bitch.
Indeed.
There we go. Intro. Mitch has things.
I mean, at least I didn't. I mean, you were not tackling it at ugly o'clock in the morning like last time, but you know, this is a more reasonable time for all of us. So it's been a good morning. Well, no, it's afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. I forgot. Time flies.
It's fine. All's good. Right. We are the Beerumverate. We're a few guys. There was normally 3 of us, but Evan is off doing other things. We'll have an update on what Evan's doing shortly. Stay tuned. So myself, I'm Keith, also known as McWomble. Follow me at Keith_McWomble on Twitter. I thought I'd get this in because we've never done it before. I want you to caress the like and subscribe button. I don't want you to hit it. I don't want you to smash it. I want you to gently caress that cursor on your keyboard, on your mouse, and then just press that like and subscribe button. And you'll never miss an episode. Yeah.
I feel violated right now.
This is the most interesting way I've had anyone say touch or hit the subscribe button.
Oh, caress it. Caress that like and subscribe button.
You gotta take it to dinner first. Come on.
Okay, can you take? Yeah, whatever. This is the rabbit hole that I didn't want to go down, and yet I dug it myself. We are a few guys who like video games and good beer. We're not here to promote drink, and please drink responsibly. Responsibly? Yeah, that as well. Any beers or breweries we talk about aren't sponsoring us, and if you would like to sponsor us in future, please do so. We could use the additional income. Matt needs a new laptop.
Well, desktop PC, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mitch doesn't need anything because he's got the mic set up. He's got a multi-camera setup. He's got a Mac. He's got a MacBook. I mean, that guy must be flush with cash. Maybe he's won the lottery or something.
It's an ancient one. It works.
Is it? Out of all of us, if you want to burgle someone's house, it's Mitch's.
That's probably the best choice.
But he lives in nearly Canada, so it might not be worth the trip.
Well, there's no snow now. It's raining, so we're good. We're out of the winter at least. Winter is. We are Game of Thrones is here next week. Winter is not coming here. Thank the gods.
Winter's gone. We can move away from all the dark, wintry, stupid beers, and we can move into something slightly more interesting tasting. Except for Matt, who will drink milk stout all year round.
This is true.
Yeah.
That's why I've got the hefty beard. You know, it just puts hair on you. All right, so
I must confess, I have done absolutely no prep for this. So if this all goes awry, it's not my fault. In the no blame culture that we work in, it's not my fault.
Should we get into some of the beers either that we're drinking right now or have drank recently?
Go for it. Someone else.
All right. Well, I was up entirely way too late last night, so I'm actually drinking water today. But last week, my wife and I went to a local brewery pub here in Vegas called Big Dogs and did a flight. And so I think there was 5 or 6 beers total that we did.
Sorry, can I just, before you get into this, explain flight?
You don't know what a flight is? Do they not have those?
Oh, flight. Gotcha.
No.
I thought you meant airplane flight for a second.
No. Okay, so a flight of beers when you go to a place that either has a lot of beers on tap or where they brew their own beer. A flight is just a tasting of several beers. Usually,
Why don't they just call it that then?
a tasting.
Because a flight's fancier.
Yeah, I mean,
They do flight with wine too. It's not the only thing. You could do flight with a lot of alcoholic beverages.
Why? Yeah,
You
but,
could do a flight of pop, but it would be really stupid.
Yeah. Why?
Here are all the
call-
Pepsis available. Flight of Pepsi.
It's Crystal Pepsi. Okay. I'll shut up now. You carry on talking. Matthew, I'm terribly sorry. Please continue.
It's all right. It's quite all right. Yeah, so I want to highlight they had 3 different red ales. They had a 38 special, a 44 Magnum, and a 50 caliber. Those are the names for the beers. And as you can imagine, they've got progressively higher in alcohol content. They were out of the 50 cal, but we did do the 44 Magnum, and that was the first beer that we tried. And even on a 4-ounce glass, I was nearly knocked on my ass. It was like 7 or 8%, but really good. So I highly recommend it. If you're ever in Vegas and you want to get off the beaten path, go to Big Dogs.
Oh, I've heard you talk about Big Dogs before, and I asked you if they actually serve big dogs.
No, fortunately not.
And I was really disappointed when they said they didn't. I just feel it's a missed opportunity.
Quite a few of the beers are named. They have like a Black Lab Stout and things like that. So, Man's Best Friend is another one that they do. So the naming convention falls in line at least. But anyway,
Well,
yeah.
at least they got 50% of their business right.
So what about you, Keith? You had a pretty interesting can before we came on.
Yeah, so I put a picture out on Twitter yesterday. Finished work, and my wife and I went to our local, and I had a Welsh Red Ale, an award-winning Welsh Red Ale from. I can't even remember the name of the brewery now. And the Tiny Rebel Brewery. See if that works.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Oh, I do remember that photo.
And the bartender said to me, "Now, I don't want to insult your intelligence, but just to let you know, this beer is cloudy, and it's meant to be cloudy." So apparently people have been ordering this and not realizing that certain beers can be cloudy and still fine. And so he said, "Have you tried anything else?" Because they had a bit of a selection. And I said, "No." So I came in and just saw that and thought I'd give it a go. And he said, "Oh, try this one. This one's my favourite." And he gave me a little tester of a fruit beer.
Ah. Why?
What are you doing to me? This is Matt and I have spoken about fruit beers before and their pointlessness.
Yeah.
I want something to taste of kind of bitter and hops. I don't want something to taste of mango and pineapple. If I wanted something to taste of pineapple, I'd get a French martini.
Indeed.
So yeah, Welsh Red Ale, very not heavy but very bitter. So not like any red ale I've had before. It was more like a cross between a brown ale and.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it.
Nice. What about you, Mitch? What are you drinking on? Hopefully it's a red ale so we can keep the theme going.
Unfortunately, it is not. So you're going to have to be disappointed a little bit.
And a strike and a miss.
So as McWalm said, I'm from near Canada. Right now I'm living in Minnesota, but I'm from the state next door of Wisconsin. So I was born in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and which next to that is Chippewa Falls, and they're known for, unfortunately they're more of a bigger company now, but they used to be a small brewery called Leinenkugelers, and now they got bought out by one of the bigger companies, but they still keep good classy beer. I think it's classy enough. And they always throw out a new variety pack every single year where they have their classic summers. So it's always a summer shandy. I think the Canoe Paddler is now the new one that gets in there now. And then they try out a couple different new beers. So they did they did an orange. Unfortunately, it's a fruit McWomble. And then
I am familiar with oranges being fruit. Yes, thank you very much. Whilst I am Scottish, I don't actually adhere to the Scottish salad being a plate of chips. Sorry, French fries.
Yeah,
which actually started in Belgium. But anyway, history out the way.
Yeah, so I usually get their variety pack just to see what they got new, because I'm a fan of more lighter beers than all the harder and bitter and gritty beers for me personally. But I can't have like a Bud Light that's just way too watered down and light. Like I do have to have it have some complexity to its flavor. So I can never always go wrong with. I'm right now doing the summer shandy, and that's always just my personal favorite.
Nice.
Their package.
I do see that in the grocery stores out here. I'll have to pick it up.
Or Honeywise. I really like. Actually, Honeywise is probably my favorite of the two main ones they sell constantly. Summer Shandy's good. It's how do I don't even know how to explain it. You just have to try it. I'm terrible at explaining flavors.
All right.
Well, we'll start getting into games in a bit, but during the I shall be trying the Friday IPA on a Saturday. I don't know if that's a rule breaker or not. And it says it's a Bavarian take on an American style IPA.
Interesting.
So let's get into item 1, and I'll crack that open, and we can.
Oh, I did want to try and make rumors a more permanent segment of the show, because I had such a blast doing that last week. And I've heard something that may be coming around the bend. It seems like they're going to port Final Fantasy VII to Skyrim.
Wow.
And I think that Skyrim might eventually also be ported to Final Fantasy VII.
That is actually really good. Wow.
Nothing sounds better to me than motorcycles in Skyrim.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, motorcycles and giants and machine gun hands. That would be so much more helpful in Skyrim than I know.
All right.
Could you imagine Sephiroth riding a dragon? God, that'd just be sweet. With the music in the background, all that operatic music. Just there's nothing better.
Yeah, I heard a rumor as well. I heard a rumor that I've already won the Sifted Fantasy Gaming League, even though I have no games.
I was gonna say you have 0 points. I'm in 3rd place right now, but that's just because I gotta talk to Vincent about one of the games he has on there, because he has Zelda 2019, and I think I count the remake of what did they do in the remake of Link to the Past? I think it is.
No, Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening. That's the one. I think that should count. So he shouldn't have 0 points. So then Apex Legends sits on his bench because it shouldn't get out of there.
Yeah. Well, I'm technically in charge of that. So if you're willing to bung me some cash, I'll just make it happen.
I'll send you all my fancy stuff.
Yes.
So no one can rob me anymore. I'll send you my get up here so you can have multiple viewpoints. How about that?
Well, I haven't got enough space at the moment. I've literally, well, yeah, it's right.
Do you know how long it takes to ship to you? It's going to take a couple weeks, so you got time. Just work on it.
Got time. Yeah, just give me 6 months, and then my wife and I can move into the house that we're buying, and then all will be good, and we can have proper internet access. Right.
All right.
Item 1, Matthew.
Item 1. Well, of course, we have to talk about BioWare Bad, the massive 11,000 word expose that Dracian Schreier posted on Kotaku, just talking about the working conditions of BioWare during the development of Anthem and some of the decisions that were made that caused people to take stress leave and be anxiety ridden and everything else. I thought it was really interesting. My take on it is probably going to be different than most everybody else who's looking at this from the outside.
Why is that?
Well, I mean,
is it because you're a double hard bastard and you think get on with it?
Basically, yeah. I mean, that's kind of my thought is you're in the games industry, you're a college educated professional. You know, this talk about unions and whatnot, I think that's goofy. I think that you make a decision to get into the industry and you're educated. If you can't handle the stress, then you shouldn't be in that industry. But that's my take on it.
You and I have to be at dichotomous opposites of that argument then, if you want.
Yeah.
Having, I'll admit, in the last 3 years, I had to take 2 short periods of stress leave.
Okay.
I'm a college educated person. I don't work in the games industry, but for the 2 periods that I'm talking about, I was under tremendous pressure. And I'm not talking about someone was forcing me to work 70-hour weeks or anything like that. The pressure wasn't purely time. It was unrealistic expectation. So there is only so much that you can physically do in order to progress a piece of work, and whether that's irrespective of time or resource availability.
Right.
So you can throw that amount of resource at something, and it will still take as long as it takes because of various other external factors. But that does not mean that the level of expectation of whoever is in charge at that period of time, and they understand that is the realization, and that's the situation that I was in. And I could not get them to understand that you could throw infinite amount of resource at said thing that I was working on,
right,
and it would still take the same amount of time. So it took me having to actually step away and not end up having a fucking coronary or something,
or an ulcer.
Exactly, and saying, look, this is the only way that you will understand is by me taking this step to step out of the situation and get myself away from this environment for you to understand what it is that's actually going on. And it was only then when I said, no, I cannot do this any longer, that the people in charge actually took any up until that point. They just didn't care.
Okay.
It was just, no, do the work, deliver when I said. It was like, well, you're not understanding. I can deliver when you said. I can't deliver what you want when you said.
Okay.
So there was it was the unrealistic expectations of the people who was in charge that led to that situation, and it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility or unfamiliar for that to be a similar situation as what happened at BioWare, where these people